HOA Karen's voice boomed like a foghorn, cutting through the bank's sterile hum. It's cash, you idiot. Cash doesn't need ID. Her sister, Min, smirked beside her, egging on the chaos with a smug, "Yeah, do your job." The poor teller, a young woman named Lily with wide, nervous eyes, clutched the counter's edge, her knuckles white. This wasn't just a transaction gone wrong, it was a full-blown Karen apocalypse, and the bank was ground zero. The trouble started innocently enough. It was a humid Tuesday morning in suburban Houston, and the First Community Bank was buzzing with its usual mix of retirees cashing checks and young professionals depositing pay stubs. HOA, a heavy-set woman in her late 50s with a permanent scowl etched into her face, waddled in with Min, her slightly younger but equally insufferable sister. Both wore gaudy floral blouses that screamed, "I demand to speak to the manager." They carried a black duffel bag stuffed with cash $20,000 in crumpled bills, to be exact, and a chip on their shoulders the size of Texas. Lily, the teller, had been on the job for barely 6 months. She was diligent, soft-spoken, and trained to follow protocol to the letter. When HOA slapped the duffel bag onto the counter and demanded to deposit the cash into a new account, Lily's polite smile faltered only slightly. "Ma'am, I'll need to see some identification for a deposit this large," she said, her voice steady despite Hoa's glare. "Identification?" HOA spat, her jowls quivering with indignation. "It's cash. Cash doesn't need ID. What kind of scam are you running here?" Min leaned in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Maybe she thinks we're criminals. HOA, maybe she's profiling us." The accusation hung in the air, absurd but venomous. Lily's cheeks flushed, but she held her ground. "It's bank policy, ma'am. For deposits over $10,000, we need ID to comply with federal regulations." The bank's lobby, usually a place of quiet transactions, began to stir. Customers glanced over, sensing the brewing storm. A retired teacher named Mr. Jenkins, waiting to withdraw his pension, muttered to the woman next to him, "Here we go again." The air thickened with tension, the kind that makes your palms sweat and your heart race, even if you're just a bystander. HOA wasn't having it. She leaned forward, her bulk casting a shadow over Lily's station. "You're just a glorified cashier," she sneered. "I don't need to show you anything. This is America. Cash is king." Min chimed in, pointing a manicured finger at Lily. "You're discriminating. I bet you'd let a white guy deposit this without blinking." The accusation was baseless. Lily was simply following protocol, but it was loud enough to turn heads. The other tellers exchanged nervous glances, and the branch manager, a wiry man named Mr. Patel, started making his way over from his office. Lily tried to de-escalate. "Ma'am, it's not about that. It's just the law. If you could please provide a driver's license or passport." But HOA cut her off, slamming her fist on the counter. A pen rolled off and clattered to the floor. "I'm not giving you my ID so you can steal my identity. You think I'm stupid? I know how this works." Min nodded vigorously, adding, "We're not falling for your tricks." By now, the lobby was a stage, and HOA and Min were the stars of their own delusional drama. Customers stepped back, forming a loose semicircle. Mr. Jenkins whispered to his neighbor, "They're going to get themselves arrested." He wasn't wrong. Mr. Patel arrived, his face calm but firm. "Ladies, please lower your voices. We need to verify your identities to process this deposit. It's standard procedure." "Standard procedure?" HOA mocked, her voice rising to a screech. "This is harassment. I'm a paying customer." Min, ever the sidekick, pulled out her phone and started recording. "I'm putting this on. Everyone's gonna see how this bank treats honest people." The threat of social media clout only emboldened HOA. She grabbed the duffel bag and unzipped it, dumping stacks of cash onto the counter. Bills spilled over, some fluttering to the floor. "There. It's cash. Take it, or I'm calling my lawyer." The chaos escalated faster than a Texas thunderstorm. Mr. Patel signaled to the security guards, two burly men who'd been watching from the corner. They approached cautiously, hands resting on their radios. "Ma'am, you need to calm down and provide ID. or we'll have to ask you to leave," one of them said, his voice low but authoritative. HOA spun around, her eyes blazing. "Leave? You're kicking us out for trying to deposit our own money? This is outrageous." Min, still filming, shouted, "This is going viral. You're all going to be famous for the wrong reasons." The guards exchanged a look. This wasn't their first Karen rodeo. They stepped closer, and HOA made the fatal mistake of shoving one of them. It wasn't a hard push, but it was enough. The guard stumbled back, and the lobby gasped in unison. "Ma'am, that's assault," the second guard said, unclipping his radio. "We're calling the police." Hoa's face turned beet red, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. "Go ahead, call them. I'll sue this whole bank for discrimination." Min, still filming, added, "Yeah, we're victims here." The police arrived within 10 minutes, 2 officers with stern faces and no patience for nonsense. By then, the lobby was a circus. HOA and Min were screaming about their rights. Lily was on the verge of tears, and Mr. Patel was trying to keep the other customers calm. The officers listened to both sides, but the facts were clear. HOA had assaulted a guard, and neither sister would provide ID for a suspiciously large cash deposit. The duffel bag, it turned out, raised red flags. Cash in such quantities often triggered scrutiny for money laundering. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault and failure to comply with a lawful request," one officer said, pulling out handcuffs. Hoa's bravado crumbled. "Arrest? For what?" "Depositing money." Min, still clutching her phone, tried to keep filming, but the second officer gently but firmly took it from her. "You're coming too, ma'am." Obstructing an investigation. As the cuffs clicked around Hoa's wrists, she wailed, "This is injustice. You're all corrupt." Min, less dramatic but no less furious, muttered, "You'll hear from our lawyer." The officers led them out, past the stunned customers and the scattered cash still littering the counter. Mr. Jenkins shook his head, muttering, "Karma's faster than Usain Bolt." The aftermath was humbling. The bank filed a report with federal authorities, who later discovered the cash was tied to an unreported side business the sisters ran, skirting taxes for years. HOA and Min faced not just assault charges, but also an IRS investigation. Their viral video? It backfired spectacularly. Ex-users tore them apart, with comments like, "Karen energy so strong it got them arrested," and "Cash doesn't mean you're above the law." Lily, shaken but resilient, received a commendation from Mr. Patel for keeping her cool. She went home that night and hugged her kids a little tighter, grateful for her job but weary of the entitlement she faced. The bank's regulars, like Mr. Jenkins, became her biggest supporters, slipping her extra thank yous and even a homemade cookie from one sweet elderly customer. The sisters' arrogance had been their undoing. They thought they could bully their way through life, but the world pushed back. Rules exist for a reason, and no amount of yelling, "It's cash," could change that. HOA and Min learned the hard way. Entitlement doesn't pay, but karma always collects. The end.